there, and a very warm welcome here to my channel. Today I am going to softly whisper you a beautiful fairy tale from this book right here. It is Hans Christian Andersen Fairytales, illustrated by Sven Otto S. So let's take a look inside this book. I'll just put on my glasses. The Tinder Box. That's the one. That's the one I want to read. Page 62. The Tinder Box. Here it is. A soldier came marching down the road. 1, 2, 1, 2. He had his knapsack on his back and a sword at his side, for he had been in the war and now he was going home. On the road he met an ugly old witch, whose lower lip hung right down her chest. "Good evening, soldier," she said. "What a fine sword you have, and what a big knapsack. You're a proper soldier, aren't you? You shall have as much money as you want." "Thank you very much, old witch," said the soldier. "Do you see that big tree?" asked the witch, pointing to the tree beside them. "It's completely hollow inside. You climb up there and you'll see a hole you can slip through, which will take you right inside the tree. I shall tie a rope around you so that I can hoist you up again when you shout." "And what am I supposed to do in the tree?" asked the soldier. "Fetch the money," said the witch. "Let me tell you, when you reach the bottom of the tree, you will find yourself a big passageway. It's quite light because more than 100 lamps are burning down there. You will see 3 doors, which you can open. The key is in the lock. Go into the first room, and in the middle of the floor, you will see a big chest with a dog sitting on top. It has a pair of eyes as big as teacups. But never you mind about that. I'll give you my blue checked apron to spread out on the floor. You go in quickly, pick up the dog, put him down on my apron, unlock the chest, and take out as much money as you like. Those are all copper coins. But if you'd rather have silver, go to the next room. There's a dog in there with eyes as big as mill wheels. But you don't bother about that. Put it on my apron and take the money. On the other hand, if you want gold, you can have that too, as much as you can carry. If you go into the third room. But the dog that sits on the money chest in there has eyes as big as round towers. That's a proper dog, I can tell you. But you don't bother about that. Put it on my apron, and it won't harm you can take as much gold as you want from the chest." "Well, that sounds all right," said the soldier. "But what shall I give you, old witch? I should think you want something for yourself." "No," said the witch. "I don't want a single shilling. Just pick up an old tinder box for me that my grandmother forgot when she was last down there." "Well, tie the rope round me," said the soldier. "There it is," said the witch. "And here is my blue checkered apron." The soldier climbed up the tree, let himself. Here's a beautiful watercolor painting of the tree. The old witch and the soldier climbing down the tree. The soldier climbed up the tree and let himself be dropped into the hollow. And just as the witch had said, he found himself standing in a wide passageway where hundreds of lamps were burning. He opened the door. Oh, the dog with eyes as big as teacups sat glaring at him. "You're a fine fellow," said the soldier, and putting the dog on the witch's apron, he took as many copper coins as his pockets would hold, closed the chest, put the dog bag on top of it, and went to the next room. Yeah, there was the dog with eyes as big as a pair of mill wheels. "You don't need to look at me like that," said the soldier. "You'll get eyeache." And he put the dog down on the witch's apron. But as soon as he saw all the silver coins in the chest, he emptied his pockets of the copper coins he had taken and refilled both of them and his knapsack with silver. Then he entered the third room. Oh, how dreadful! The dog in there really had eyes as big as round towers, and they spun in its head like wheels. "Good evening," said the soldier, touching his cap, for he had never seen anything like this dog before. But after he had looked at it for a little while, he thought, "That's enough," lifted it onto the floor, and unlocked the chest. Lord bless us and save us. What a lot of gold there was. He could buy the whole of Copenhagen for this, and the baker's sugar pig, and all the toy soldiers, whips, and rocking horses in the world. Oh yes, that really was money. The soldier threw out all the silver coins with which he had filled his pockets and knapsack, and filled them with gold instead. In fact, he filled all his pockets, his knapsack, his cap, and his boots so full that he could barely walk. He was rich now. He put the dog back on the chest, slammed the door, and shouted from the hollow tree, "Hoist me up now, old witch." "Have you got the tinder box?" asked the witch. "Oh, that's true," said the soldier. "I'd forgotten all about it." Back he went and picked it up. The witch hoisted him out of the tree, and there he was, back on the road, with pockets, boots, knapsack, and cap filled with money. "What do you want the tinder box for?" the soldier asked. "That's none of your business," said the witch. "You've got the money, give me the tinder box." "Hoity-toity," said the soldier. "Tell me at once what you want it for, or I'll draw my sword and cut off your head." "No," said the witch. The soldier cut off her head. There she lay, but the soldier poured all his money into her apron, and with the bundle on his back and the tinder box in his pocket, he walked into town. It was a nice town, and the soldier walked into the nicest inn and demanded the best rooms and his favorite food, because he was rich now with all that money. The servant who was cleaning his boots thought they were an odd pair of old boots for such a rich gentleman, but that was before he bought himself new ones. The next day he had boots fit to walk in and a handsome suit of clothes. The soldier had become a fine gentleman now, and the people told him about all the good things in their town, and about their king and his beautiful daughter, the princess. "How can I get to see her?" asked the soldier. "No one can get to see her at all," said all the people. "She lives in a great copper castle, surrounded by walls and towers. No one but the king dares to visit her, because it has been foretold that she will marry a common soldier, and that's not to the king's liking." "I should certainly like to see her," thought the soldier, but there was absolutely no chance of that. He was living a pleasant life now, going to the theater, driving through the king's park, and giving money to the poor, which was nice of him. There's a picture here of the big dog, the biggest of them all, and the soldier. He well remembered what it was like not to have a penny to his name. He was rich now. He wore elegant clothes and had many friends who said he was a rare one, a real cavalier, and the soldier enjoyed that. But since he handed money out every day and never got any back again, in the end he was left with barely 2 shillings to his name, and he had to move out of the fine room he had been living in and up into a little garret room right under the roof, where he polished his own boots and mended his socks with a darning needle, and none of his friends came to see him because there were too many stairs to climb. One dark evening, he could not even buy himself a candle. He remembered that there was a candle end in the tinder box he had picked up in the hollow tree where the witch had sent him. He took out the tinder box and the candle end, but as soon as he struck the flint and the sparks flew, the door sprang open, and the dog, with eyes as big as teacups, stood before him. "What is my master's command?" it said. "What's all this?" said the soldier. "That's a funny kind of tinder box. Will it really give me anything I want?" "Get me some money," he told the dog. And hey presto, it had gone. And hey presto, it was back again, with a bag full of coins in his mouth. Now the soldier knew what a wonderful tinder box it was. If he struck it once, the dog that sat on the chest full of copper came. If he struck it twice, the one that sat on the silver chest came. And if he struck it 3 times, the one with gold came. The soldier moved down again to his handsome room, got himself some good clothes, and suddenly all his friends knew him and were very fond of him again. One day he thought to himself, "It really is very odd that one can't even see the princess. Everyone says she's very beautiful. But what's the good of that if she's always shut up in that big copper castle with all those towers? Is it really impossible for me to see her? Where is my tinder box?" And then he struck the flint, and hey presto, the dog with eyes as big as teacups stood before him. "I know it's the middle of the night," said the soldier, "but I am simply longing to see the princess, if only for a moment." The dog left at once, and before the soldier could even think, it was back again with the princess, lying asleep on the dog's back. She was so beautiful that anyone could see she was a real princess. The soldier could not help himself. He had to kiss her, for he was a proper soldier. The dog took the princess straight home, but when it was morning, and the king and queen were taking tea with her, the princess said she had dreamed a wonderful dream the night before about a dog and a soldier. She had ridden on the dog, and the soldier had kissed her. "That's a pretty story," said the queen. One of the old ladies in waiting was told to watch by the princess's bed the next night to see if it had been a real dream or something else. The soldier longed passionately to see the beautiful princess again. And so the dog came back that night, picked her up, and ran as fast as it could. But the old lady in waiting put on her waterproof boots and ran swiftly behind it. When she saw it disappearing inside a big house, she thought, "Now I know the place." And with a piece of chalk, she drew a big cross on the door. Then she went home to bed. But when the dog took the princess home again, he saw the cross on the door of the soldier's house. And he took a piece of chalk and drew crosses on all the doors in town. That was cunning of him, for now the lady in waiting could not find the right door, since there were crosses everywhere. Early in the morning, the king and queen, the old lady in waiting, and all the court officials went to see where the princess had been. "There it is," said the king, when he saw the first door with a cross on it. "No, it is here, my sweet husband," said the queen, seeing a second door with a cross on it. "But there's one over there, and one there," they all said, seeing the crosses on all the doors. Then they realized that it was of no use looking any longer. But the queen was a very intelligent woman who could do more than sit in a royal carriage. With her big golden scissors, she cut out a big piece of silk and made it into a pretty little bag, which she filled with buckwheat groats. She tied the bag on the princess's back, and then she snipped a little hole in the bag so that the groats would trickle out along the way where the princess went. That night, the dog came again, put the princess on its back, and ran with her to the soldier, who loved her so much and longed to be a prince so that he could marry her. The dog did not notice the groats trickling behind it from the castle to the soldier's window, where it climbed up the wall with the princess. So in the morning, the king and queen could see quite clearly where their daughter had been, and the soldier was arrested and put in a gaol. There he sat in the dreary darkness. Here's the dog by the window, making a cross on every door. And they told him, "You were to be hanged tomorrow." That was not an amusing thing to hear, and he had left his tinder box at home in the inn. In the morning, he watched through the iron bars in the little window as people hurried from the town to see him hanged. He heard the drums and saw the soldiers marching, and everyone came running. There was a cobbler's boy too, in his leather apron and slippers, running so hard that one of his slippers flew off and hit the wall where the soldier was looking out between the iron bars. "Hi there, cobbler's boy. Don't be in such a hurry," said the soldier. "There will be nothing done until I get there. But if you will run to the place where I lived and get me my tinder box, you shall have 4 shillings. But you'd better be quick about it." The cobbler's boy was very keen to have 4 shillings and sped away to get the tinder box. He brought it to the soldier, and this is what happened next. Outside the town, a tall gallows had been erected, and the soldiers and hundreds of thousands of people were now standing around it. The king and queen sat on their grand throne, facing the judge and the supreme council. The soldier was already standing on the platform, but as they were about to put the rope round his neck, he reminded them that before paying the penalty, a sinner was always granted one innocent wish. All he wanted was a pipeful of tobacco, the last pipe he would ever smoke in this world. The king would not deny him that, and the soldier took out his tinder box and struck it. Once, twice, thrice. All 3 dogs appeared. The one with eyes as big as teacups, the one with eyes like mill wheels, and the one with eyes as big as round towers. "Now get me out of being hanged," said the soldier. And the dogs rushed at the judges and the council, grabbing one by the leg and another by the nose, and flung them so high in the air that when they fell back again, they broke in pieces. "Leave me alone," said the king, but the biggest dog took him and the queen together and threw them after all the others. The soldiers were terrified, and the people shouted, "Little soldier, you shall be our king and marry the beautiful princess." The soldier sat in the king's carriage, and all 3 dogs danced ahead of it, shouting, "Hurrah, hurrah." That's how you say hooray in Danish. The boys whistled through their fingers, and the soldiers presented arms. The princess came out of the copper castle and became queen, which she enjoyed very much. The marriage feast lasted a week, and the dogs sat at the table with them and feasted their eyes. Thank you so much for listening to this beautiful and iconic classic fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen. Let me know in the comments if you like this style of video and if you would like to hear more whispered fairy tales. Have a beautiful and peaceful sleep, and I will see you again very soon in the next video.